So in this lesson, you're going to be converting some radians and degrees, but some of the ones that are not very common, so things that probably are going to need a calculator to do. So there's two different styles of going about this. There's kind of a shortcut, and then there's a method that works all the time, where you don't have to remember the shortcut to it, but there's definitely some similarities between the two. If you have a radian measurement and you want to turn it into degrees, you have to multiply in a degree measurement and divide out a radian. And these are equivalent to each other, so it's kind of like a scale factor-ish kind of a thing. So if you have a radian, which typically has a pi, we want to divide out a pi but multiply in a degree. And then if you have degrees and you want to convert it into radians, you're going to multiply in a radian value and divide out a degree, an equivalent degree value. Okay? If you don't love that and you're like, I don't remember which one I'm going to be doing, then just set up a proportion. This works all the time. So radians related to pi is equal to degrees over 180. It's kind of like a scale factor thing. If you want to rewrite it a little bit different, then you can just take 180 over pi and then make a proportion out of it. So you're going to know one of these two values, and so you'll plug it in and then put x for the other one, or however you want to label that, and then just cross multiply and solve. All right, so let's see. So let's say you have a negative 8 pi over 5. I have no idea what that converts into, so I could just multiply. I have a radian value and I want to multiply in the 180 and divide out the pi. So multiply by 180, divide out the pi, and pi's are going to cancel. Typically, if you have a pi in here, it's going to be wonderful because a degree shouldn't have a pi in it. And then we got a little simplifying. So a 5 and the 180. Let's see. So 5 is going to go into 18 5 times with, nope, 3 times with, so that's a 15. We got a 3 left over, so that's a 30, so that's a 36. And then now you're going to multiply 36 times negative 8. And that is going to get you a negative 288. So could you have set it up as a proportion? Of course. You could have taken your negative 8 pi over 5 and then over pi, so I'm using this style, equals an equivalent, which I don't know the degree measurement, but it would be out of 180. I would cross multiply. So if I cross multiplied, I'd have pi times x equals 180 times negative 8 pi over 5. And then if I divide by pi, that would actually divide out the pi. And then I'm taking 180 times negative 8/5, which I already did. And I would get the exact same answer of negative 288 degrees. Okay, so two different options. Two different styles. It does not matter. They both will work. They're both going to be a little bit more work than some of the more common ones. If we did a second one, let's say you had 200 degrees. If you wanted to turn that into radians, we want to multiply in a pi and divide out a 180. All right, so if we do that, we got a little bit of simplifying that we can do. We can cancel that 0 with that 0. 20 and 18, you'd have a 2 that goes into both, so you'd have 10, 9. So your answer would be 10 pi over 9. And that is an equivalent radian version. All right, and that was converting radians and degrees, or radians to degrees, degrees to radians, and a not so common ones where you're talking about proportions or you're just talking about kind of a scale factor that you're multiplying out. Thanks.